this is a really good conversation for the podcast. So we should
it's
save it for that.
recording.
Oh, it is.
We're good.
Okay.
Oh, wait, hold on. So maybe we should do an opener.
Do you guys edit this? Like, you guys cut it down, slim it down, right? Or is it
I
just
can
like,
cut it
is it
down.
all raw? Is it raw?
Oh, it's all raw. We're going in raw.
Okay.
Hold on, I just got
What about
followed
it?
by one of those hate raid bots. Let me go ahead and ban it really quick.
Oh yeah. Oh, you guys gonna do Wednesday, September 1st? Are you guys gonna be part of the movement?
Well, I was already technically. I don't stream on Wednesdays.
Me
But-
either.
Yeah.
I was like, more
I don't-
I don't stream Wednesdays either.
Did you see my tweet about that?
Yeah, no, I
made a big long tweet about that, and I
got
just to be like transparent about the situation, especially on my end.
I got the gist of it. Well, I mean, we talked about it in like before as well.
Yeah,
where
we
you kinda,
talked about it. Yeah.
Yeah, like you're basically kind of saying just like even if people do stream on that day because X, Y, and Z, like don't hate on them for whatever reason they're streaming for. Because
yeah, for sure.
And then even like just from my end, like it'd be disingenuous of me to say that I'm not streaming in support. I don't stream that day anyways.
yeah.
Like I don't find myself streaming on Wednesdays anyway, so it's not like I was planning on doing it anyways. It would be, two-faced to be like I'm not going to stream in support.
I was going to
yeah.
after I found that Shang-Chi is coming out on Friday. Is it called Shang-Chi? What is a new movie?
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi? Marvel movie.
Shang-Chi.
Marvel.
We should start the podcast. Hi, I'm Jalbagel. This is Gamer Breakfast. There it is. We started it.
Oh, that's the name of the podcast?
Yeah. We didn't even tell you the name of it. Shit.
Okay, what was it? Breakfast time? Breakfast time with Job.
Yeah, man, it's Gamer Breakfast.
Oh,
Get
Gamer
y'all
The Gamer Breakfast.
get y'all a big old bowl of Gamer Breakfast, part of a balanced meal. It can be literally anything you want. For me this morning, it is a cup of coffee in a mug that my friend got me.
I have
It says freshly squeezed.
a phone.
Oh, you had a phone for breakfast.
I'm Jalbagel though.
My name is SkojSkull. Oh my goodness, Jesus Christ! My name is SkojSkull, and we have our guest with us today, TinyAsparagus. She is a variety caster here on Twitch on the social medias, who also came from Monster Hunter as well. Welcome.
Hey, I had some tea and actually I had a burger, but because it's 6 p.m. here, so I did not have breakfast. I had dinner. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Time zones.
But you know what? It's breakfast time somewhere.
Oh yeah.
I'll say I had a burger for breakfast.
I had waffles and like Cheez-Its.
Man,
I love Cheez-Its
together.
No, not together. But like after the waffles, I was just like, yeah, I feel like Cheez-Its. I don't know what Cheez-Its are
Cheez-Its
like
are
the
good.
one thing that I'm just always grab to.
Do you like
Yeah,
the white cheddar
Cheez-Its.
one?
Hmm?
Do you like the white cheddar Cheez-Its?
Yes, I just had them.
Oh, okay. I feel like
every
it's like
cheese
an
is
underdog.
good.
Every
It's
cheese
so
is good. I've
good.
only had those two. I only had original and the white cheddar, and the white cheddar one goes pretty hard.
Surprisingly, I'm not a big fan of spicy, but surprisingly, the jalapeno cheddar Cheez-Its,
Oh, I've never tried it. Never tried.
Those are a
Jalapeno
banger.
cheddar.
those are a banger. love
Jalapeno
those.
cheddar. Cheese. Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
What? Oh my gosh.
We should go back to that conversation that we were having, though. I had to ban one of the IP snatching hate raid bots, just like literally just now from my chat, because I saw it followed me 10 minutes ago.
Maybe it's the same name that followed me. I think.
It's always a variation on Haas 00312.
Oh,
If you
yeah,
ever
yeah.
see
okay,
any
I've
variation
done
of that,
those
just immediately ban it.
Oh, I'm Gucci.
And lunar. I've been seeing a lot of lunars, and I only know about the lunar one because
Lunar, yep,
yeah,
that's another one.
Bella Sky posted that, and it was like a whole bunch of different lunar names, and I've gotten followed by different types of lunar subnames. So yeah, that's pretty. It's been, I don't know. Twitch has been really weird lately, so I hope that
they've got their focus in the wrong places, and they always had, right? Because they're trying to build their brand and their platform, their product, but then there are these ongoing problems inside the product that are just going unaddressed.
Yeah.
But
They make
like
one new change
we were talking
and
about,
more problems come from it, essentially.
yeah. And like we were talking about in the pre-show, the day off of Twitch, September, right? September.
This is coming out like way after
I
that.
forgot what month it was. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's 2 days from now. 2 days from now.
Yeah.
The 1st of September.
Yeah. 2 days from now. 3 days from now.
Oh,
Dude.
Whatever.
Yeah, well, yeah, 3 days from now. Yeah.
September 1st.
One of those days.
It's coming up. But like I was saying, like, I mean, that we're streamers are organizing this day off of Twitch to kind of boycott this change to get Twitch to kind of open their eyes to what this problem is. And it's not the first time that we've seen a Twitch blackout, right? Like we saw that last year, and I think like 2 times.
Did it do anything? Like, did it initiate anything?
It was more so to kind of bring the same kind of context to the marginalized population on Twitch, right?
Oh.
And I don't know if any direct. Yeah, exactly. It has been, and I don't know if any direct change came from it because I'm still Twitch baby and trying to figure that stuff out. But just like in any kind of protest or any kind of riot, it is more so to make sure that your voice is heard and make sure that your stance is heard. One of the streamers that is kind of heading this, let me find her again.
The fact that IGN even tweeted about
Raven
this.
Something.
Raven. Raven. She is kind of heading this this movement. She had a really bad experience with the hate raid. It went viral on Twitter. She actually had the opportunity to sit down with Twitch and talk about it.
Really?
I'm trying to find the tweet again because it is it is good things. I'm trying to find it again. Because I don't want to misquote her on this. But more so far she said that she is oh my gosh, I'm at a I just can't think of words. Just words don't exist.
Know the tweet.
She is, I'm trying to find it. It was like a few days ago.
It is on Gucci. But are they sorting something out? Are they sorting something out and trying to figure it out?
She was I'm close. I recognize these tweets.
Hacker bands.
Sometimes I just doom scroll on Twitter, and so
it's interesting. I didn't know that this was a. I've only been on Twitch for a little over a year, so I didn't know that this was like an ongoing issue. I think any big company is always going to have a PR nightmare at some point, especially when you're working with so many different demographics. But it is really interesting that I heard. Well, I don't want to say the streamer, but I did see on Reddit, and I know sometimes people have their qualms with Reddit, but I do get a lot of interesting forums and read, go down the rabbit hole. And there was a certain bigger streamer that was pretty much saying that they weren't going to do it because it would not work only if big streamers were to back it. And so their opinion was that since there is no big streamers to back it, that they would not do it to help the protest or boycott.
Yeah.
Which was quite funny because they're very, very large. So they would lead by example if they did. Yeah, so I found that a little intriguing. I was like, oh, interesting, because that's literally what you. I mean, I don't know. That's my opinion, but I thought it was quite interesting why this individual wouldn't want to do it if they believed that there was no one bigger platform people, content creators on there that wouldn't do it. Yet he's in the same position.
That's the wild thing too. Is I was seeing on Twitter that some threads are going around about these larger mega streamers, like these gigantic personalities, people that are famous on Twitch who have no idea what a hate raid is. People are going into their chats and they're like, hey, are you taking off the first for the hate raid stuff, and they're like, what's a hate raid? They don't even know what that is. And it really goes to show you how disconnected the tiers of Twitch really are from each other, right? Like the big streamers, the gigantic streamers, and the big streamers, and the moderate streamers, and then the small streamers, and then the unknown, right? And it really goes to show who is actually being targeted by this, which is those smaller streamers. We are in that pool of people, Twitch size wise, that would be targeted by something like this. We three aren't necessarily in that demographic, but it is it's insane because it wasn't just like one person. It was like six. It was a compilation, just a thread of like 6 or 7 or 8 of these like large streamers, the people that you would think would have their thumb on the pulse of this kind of an issue on the platform, and they just have no idea what it is.
Yeah, I can see that the whole community and that is just like on a different tier level, almost.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Especially when kind of like it's when chat is like so fast like that. I can see the whole different.
You have no control over it.
Yeah. No. So I can see the disconnect for sure.
So I found the tweet.
Definitely. Yeah.
And so the original tweet was, just got done with my meeting with Twitch, and I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good about it. I'm confident in this. Twitch is listening and working actively on providing proactive tools to help combat these hate raids, and are doing so with as much speed as possible. Change will happen. Thank you all. Thank you all for keeping the fight. Fight is not done, but we're getting closer. And that was from Wreck-It Raven on Twitter.
Nice.
So yeah, Raven is also probably in that same kind of size group as we are, and she was targeted, like heavily targeted by these hate raids early on. So she became an early voice for this problem, and she's been kind of like leading this, Twitch do better, and the day off of Twitch. She's been kind of like more or less the unofficial voice for this, and a lot of people have been going to her for advice and for updates and stuff like that. And I mean, like, she's even had like some tweets like, y'all, like, I'm one person, I got my other responsibilities, like give me a second to catch up. But it is really reassuring to see people like this, like when they are affected by something, that they take this kind of initiative. And then even Twitch reaching out and contacting these people. I don't know if it was Raven reaching out to Twitch or Twitch reaching out to Raven, but that actual dialogue happening, right? And we only have this tweet and her word to go off of, but so far, like, Raven has been very transparent about what's been going on for the hate rating and stuff. So it's one of those things that, like, change is coming, but like Skoy and I talked about, this has been a problem on the platform for years. It's just becoming more prevalent and more common now, and people are vocalizing it more often. So change should have happened a while ago, and tools should have been put into place a while ago. But
I think Twitch also mentions, like, they said, we have the tools presented for you. This is before, like, I think she talked with them. They were like, tools was presented before you, and there was another tweet after that was just like, different ways of saying one word is like over 5 million, or even more than that, I think. It
was literally millions of combinations in just like one alphabet, or like in like one type of writing. I'm not smart enough to regurgitate that tweet, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. There was literally like 6 million different ways to just type one word. Yeah. And the way that, like, Twitch stops bots from working is that they can only send, like, I think it was like 10 messages per minute or something like that. So to be able to ban all of those words using your bot in your chat, to ban every single one of those words would take 71 days of nonstop bot adding messages at the rate that it can. 71 days to ban one word and every combination of that word that could be construed. Interesting. And so, yeah, like that's like what they're saying. It's like the tools do exist. They just aren't practical, right? Like no one's practically creating that, right? And so that makes it a bad tool. It's that's sure, you can build a house with one hammer. Yeah, it's not practical.
Yeah, of course. But I hope that the direction from all the conversations that are slowly sleeping out will become something, even if it's small steps is better than no steps. So exactly, that's my 2 cents on it. Yeah, nice. So, but yeah,
I'm trying to think what else were we talking about before in the pre-stream, because we had a lot of good things coming up.
we have
when you
hit that record button.
When you went to go get your coffee, I was just talking about how I'm you guys. I met you guys. So yeah, we can start talking to you guys.
We can talk about that really quick. Let's preface it with this. So Tiny is a streamer on Twitch.
Ooh,
how
great start. Nice.
I'm prefacing this with the information that is required for the conversation. This is what being a good host is about.
Absolutely.
So one of my questions that I had like written down, I'm like, I'm gonna roast Tiny and I'll ask her all these questions, and here's my list. So this is the beginning.
Okay. All right.
No, I was actually curious. Why did you start streaming? Because I know for some of us it was like out of boredom or out of ambition. For me it was for mental health. So I'm curious to see like what other people why they started streaming.
Well, it was because of the COVID pandemic. I did my job was on hold. I worked in media for a while, and there was a point in time where I was like, oh, the isolation was kind of interesting. So I was like, you know what? I love to cook, so might as well try to be adventurous and make friends through cooking. Because I travel a lot, so I'm currently not in the United States, and I have a pretty big private life, but coming from work, I was like, oh, I'm stuck in the apartment, so I'm going to do something. But what was interesting was my sister, she has always been streaming. Her lifestyle has always been gaming. We're quite opposite. And I know that she was a partner on Mixer for a really long time. So I knew of streaming. I didn't really necessarily knew too much about Twitch. I've never been on the platform really, but I have been on the Mixer platform to support my sister. I made a screen name, to talk to her on chat every now and then or blah, blah, blah. Nothing like that. So when I was like, you know what, maybe I can try streaming cooking, like a drunk, funny cooking show. Maybe some strangers will think it's funny, and then I can eat afterwards. And I wanted to pick Twitch only because I didn't want to step on my sister's steez because she was on Mixer. So I was like, okay, I'll try this other platform, Twitch, whatever. Which was funny about that was a few days later, Mixer went kapooty. So I think that they went under or whatever. They stopped streaming the platform. So I remember I told my sister, I was like, hey, I know you're on Mixer, but you want to like follow me, be my first follower on Twitch? I'm going to make a cooking show. And she's like, bro, Mixer's dead. I'm going to Twitch. I was like, what? So that was really funny. So I was like, oh, well, I didn't want to step on your steez. So she's like, oh, you should have went on Mixer. But that was case closed. So I did, I'm not super computer savvy. I think I am now as I'm growing on the platform. I've got some experience with some computer stuff. But when I first started, it was the worst cooking show ever. I'm talking like bad camera, bad mic, bad everything. Like I put my monitor on a bookshelf while I was in my kitchen and I couldn't even reach that. And people were like, what are you cooking? I was like, what? Like grandma glasses? Like, it was awful. So I was like, dude, this Twitch, this streaming thing is pretty fucking no good for me. So I ended up meeting some people and they're like, oh yeah, cooking's so much fun. And I had a friend help me. And so I was like, oh, my sister was like, yeah, you should maybe play some video games. Like try playing some video games. And I usually don't play a lot of video games. I'm really, I have back when I was younger a little bit with my sister, but nothing to the degree that, I would say like you guys or my sister that was just very passionate about video games. I was out and about. I had a different lifestyle. I was, adventurous in a different way, which is not bad. Yeah. But so I was like, okay. And I played a little bit of indie games, and I kind of got a little distraught with that a little bit, only because the internet, as coming from a private person that has been very private on the internet, and taking that step of knowing that once you go on the internet, you can't go back. Basically, like no matter what, like it doesn't matter where you're at, it's gonna be there forever. You have to face the consequences of what will happen with that. I know that as a female on the platform. You're just going to get bombarded with some things that are unnecessary. And when I first started, I had like, 4 or 5 viewers playing like little small indie games. And I got like, pee-pee pictures, like people like being really mean, So I was like, this is not the, I knew heads up, like that would happen, on the internet when you go on like a chat box or something like that, there's always going to be trolls or something like that. So then my sister introduced me to Monster Hunter World, and she's like, we can play this together. This actually, Monster Hunter World was the game that she played on Mixer a lot. So she was like, oh, I think you would like it. It's a pretty game. I think that it's enough challenge for you. And I just remember when I first played, I was so overwhelmed. I was like, dude, this game is too advanced for me. I was playing like little point and click games, guys. Indie games. I was playing like little small like 2D puzzles. Like, this is cute. Like, well, welcome in. This is before I even this is even before I even put like TV show on my name. I was just TinyAsparagus. I was just like some random girl with a shitty mic just playing point and clicks. And then she was like, "Oh yeah, let's go play some Monster Hunter World." And I was like, "Whoa, this game is so beautiful, but so overwhelming." I had no idea what I was doing, and she actually helped me along the way. And then that's when it kind of picked off for what it is. And then I just got really obsessed with Monster Hunter World, and then learning about video games. And my sister really gave me a lot of advice because we're so different, but I now realize why she really liked that lifestyle and why I'm in the lifestyle now too, because it's very interesting. It is very there's a cozy part to it, and it's you enjoy video games, which I kind of had this I always believed that video games are good for your your motor skills, there's people knock on video games, but it really is quite good for the brain. So I really I just couldn't believe I started so late, so to say, but maybe it's because I just wasn't in the mindset to do it for a while.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, we each bloom at those different points in our lives. Like like I have like coworkers. Like I have a coworker. He's like 45 and has like 2 kids and a wife and all of that.
He just started.
He comes in and he comes into work the other day and he's like, "You play video games, right?" And I'm like, wearing this hat, and I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Have you ever heard of Monster Hunter?" I started playing that, and I was like, my eyes like
lit up.
Playing Monster Hunter? What? And this guy's like 45, like middle-aged dude, like never played a video game in his life. He's like, "Yeah, my son like plays it a bunch, and like he really enjoys it." And so I was like, "You know what? Like we'll get a second Xbox and I'll play with him." And we've been connecting over that, and we're having a blast. I'm like sitting there, like not like trying not to come to tears, because like it was just such a wholesome moment.
That's almost wholesome.
I honestly really like to enjoy video games and like to relax and kind of but that is kind of interesting. That's kind of cute. I mean, I don't know. Monster Hunter World is quite could be quite overwhelming as a new player. Someone that hasn't played the other Monster Hunter World. I didn't know that there was a franchise behind Monster Hunter World, but like 7 months in playing it, everyone was like, "Do you play GU?" And I was like, "What's GU?" Like, what's I don't know what this is. And they're like, "Bro," they're like, "Do you Monster Hunter for you or something like that?" I'm like, "No, I'm playing Monster Hunter World." They're like, "Yeah, but for you?" I'm like, "Yeah, for me and my sister." They're like, "No, it's the title." I was like, "Oh my god, I don't know this." But now I do. Now I know it's like a long-term kind of game, which is really fascinating. And like, it's and great. You two, I know, really know the lore of Monster Hunter World, which is really kind of cute. That I just like chop monsters up, and
I do.
Yeah, you know a lot of lore, and
I actually
love this franchise so much.
I actually quit playing the game when I first got into it.
Really?
Oh yeah, I couldn't get past Great Jagress.
Oh, see, I never played solo.
But now
I always played with my sister.
Now look at me. I'm still Insect Boy, and I'm still.
It's definitely one of those games that, like, if you don't have someone to kind of help you through it, you can get overwhelmed really quick. My first was 3U on the 3DS, and I had a friend like helping me play it, and I hated it. I hated that game with a passion. I still like had this kind of like little mental block in the back of my head that like 3U is a terrible game and I can't get into it and I will not enjoy it, and so I will never play it again. And then 4U came out and I said, "You know what? I'm going to give it another shot. I won't be behind. I'll be able to start at the same time as my friends." And I loved it. I loved every second of it. And I was able to like go in and take it at my own pace and play at my own rate and not have to worry about catching up or like keeping up. It really, like, when you detach yourself from like what everyone else is doing, especially with a game like that, it makes it a lot more manageable.
I heard that
having someone to like show you.
Yeah, I don't know which one it was. If that was that title that you were playing or another one, but they said that the older titles were like quite difficult, like an actual quite hard game to play.
They can be, yeah.
It can be.
I mean, I never really knew, but I was like, oh, the game kind of looks, super 1990s, like the graphics stuff. But I know still a lot of you guys still played it, and it definitely looks. They say a lot have said that it's harder than Monster Hunter World.
I would say it definitely can be. There's some points of the games, like for Ultimate, when I was playing through it, that there was like this. It was a breeze at some points, and then the gap between like the next rank, like from low rank to high rank sometimes, or even to like end game, is like there's a pretty significant gap to where it's just you have to like get the specific gear to be able to progress. Otherwise, you're just going to keep dying. That's what happened to me, at least.
Because that's especially with the older games too, that when you get out of like low rank and high rank, when you get to that glorious G rank was never designed for one player. It always had multiplayer scaling. So if you're trying to solo through that content, if you're trying to solo through hub content, you were fighting things. You were fighting things at multiplayer health all the time.
Okay.
So it was difficult, not impossible, but difficult. And with World, there was always one player scaling with every single quest. So you never had to worry about that, right?
I can see that.
And so like that perception, because like I always tell people, they're like, oh, like which do you like more, like World or Rise? And I'm like, they're different games. So like even still, like which do you like more, like For You or World? I'm like, those are still different, like wildly different games, like vastly different games. I get different enjoyment out of both of those games.
Yeah, honestly, watching you guys play different Monster Hunter games that are not World, I can totally see how different they are. I mean, not just by graphics wise, but like just like a little bit of the gameplay.
Core mechanics.
I'm like, whoa, yeah. I'm like, well, this is, I don't know, like, I get kind of confused while watching some of you guys play it. But I mean, I've never tried it, so I've tried Rise, but I have my opinions on Rise.
You have your opinions? Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like, I think as you come from someone that as the first major game to kind of experience is Monster Hunter World, and you don't play video games, and you come from something that's very, from my opinion, very aesthetically appealing and a little bit, fun to play with your sister, and kind of it's beautiful looking, and then you kind of play Rise that is a little bit different, but it's like really cutesy, and for me it kind of looks like I'm going backwards. But I don't have any experience with the other Monster Hunter titles, so I did play Rise, and I do like certain things about it, but when I'm comparing it to Monster Hunter World, I just prefer Monster Hunter World more. So I mean, the only thing I could say was that really bothered me was, and it's very small, but it really bothered me because it distracted me a lot, especially when you're like streaming. In Monster Hunter Rise, you can go with 4 people, right? And they're dogs. So like, when you're fighting a monster, there's like 3 other people fighting with you, and there's like a whole bunch of stuff going on the screen, and then there's like 4 dogs all fighting the same thing. It gets really chaotic, and you kind of, in my mind, I always think that they're like little shamus, those little guys in Monster Hunter World that just like kind of run and attack you. Like I think yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yeah, shamus. So I think that, I don't know if that's their names, but like, because they're just like, they're frilling around.
Yeah, they're
like,
just small monsters.
Yeah, so I know you can take your dogs away or your cats away, but most people, when you're playing multiplayer 4 and Rise, most don't, and it's just like kind of like a fester of just like so many movements that it gets really messy for me, that I personally didn't enjoy it. But I did really like the wire bugs. I thought the wire bugs were cool on certain weapons. The wire bugs
were fun. Like I love that.
But I didn't play it enough to really. I went to like high rank 20. I stopped at Chameleos or something like that. I didn't even fight it. And I just kind of went back to World.
No, and that's fair, right? And like that's one of my big gripes with the game too, is that there's so many models in the game at one time, between you, the other hunters, the small monsters, your palamutes or palicos, the large monsters, the other large monsters that come into the area. Like the map is large. It's not as big as World, in my opinion, or at least in my perspective, I should say. Not opinion, right? Because that's a quantitative thing. But why do all of those models need to be right there all at the exact same time on a map this big? Like,
and the monsters run away a lot. Have you noticed that in the game? They run away a lot in Rise. Like you hit them twice and they just like start sprinting. You're like, oh man, I gotta get my dog. It's like it was very frequent. It was very, which is I was like, oh, interesting. You ride your doggy and go find them, but it was a lot. I was like, dang, this guy does not. No,
the monster AI in that game, coming from a speedrunning aspect, monster AI in that game is fucking broken. I hate it. It is awful.
It is not consistent, or is it just like...
It uses the same kind of logic that World does, since it uses a seamless map. So like hallways have transition areas. If you push something into a hallway, it'll transition just like in World. But then on top of that, because of like how they did turf wars in this game, which really aren't turf wars, but more so like the wyvern ride moments. Like if one large monster encroaches and like hits it, and you get to ride them, that wyvern ride moment just always sucks the AI in and if another large monster just enters an area that's like immediately like, I'm gonna go fight that large monster. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It's just, I'm gonna go fight that large monster, and then I'm gonna fight it until the wyvern ride is over. So if you don't take the wyvern ride and then like immediately end it, they just keep fighting each other forever. It's awful.
It's weird.
It is weird.
But the game
which game do you prefer out of all the Monster Hunter titles that both of you guys have played? Which one is your personal favorite?
World.
World? Yeah. I think
World?
World for me would probably be my personal favorite. In terms of like the monsters and how much content there is, probably for Ultimate though.
Do you also think that there'll be, a lot of people have been talking like, oh yeah. You think there'll be Monster Hunter World 2 or no?
Like the second
World
one? I think so.
No.
You don't think so?
Well, not a World 2, but like another.
I think a game built similarly to continue that kind of world hype. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
But not a Monster Hunter World 2. I keep calling it Monster Hunter Universe, MHU.
MHU.
Okay, all right.
I keep that's what I keep calling it. I've already shot my shot. I shot it 2 years ago, and I said it's gonna be called MHU, and that's gonna be the next latest and greatest thing.
Maybe.
I mean, they would just put DLC, like they would just add more things to World, like
a GTA thing.
Yeah, and have GTA for 10 years.
That's what I thought it was gonna be. I was just like, bro, this is.
I kind of feel like that would be like quite smart, honestly, because it's. But
it would be.
I really wish there was crossplay because which platform did you play Monster Hunter World first on? Xbox.
PlayStation 4.
PlayStation
PS4.
4.
I literally went out and bought a used PS4 to play the game on release.
Oh really? I literally did it for Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh wow!
Seriously, of all things, 7 Remake?
Yeah, because I didn't have a PlayStation 4, but I played Final Fantasy VII a long time ago with my sister. It's one of my sister's favorite games, so of course I played it because she loved it so much. And I remember Final Fantasy VII Remake came out, and I was like, oh, I don't have a PlayStation, so I bought a used PlayStation 4, and then 4 months later, it was free on PS Store, which pissed me off. And then they said they're gonna have the DLC on PS5, so that also pissed me off. So I was like, dang, I just gotta use PS4 for one game that was free 4 months later, and now it's not even gonna have the chapters on the other. I can't even have the same platform to play it on. So it was pretty. Feels bad, man.
Oh man, I still haven't gotten the PlayStation 4. One, because money, and like there hasn't been really a game that really grabbed my interest.
Yeah, no, PC is really, honestly, if you have PC, I think you can play anything, really, honestly.
The only reason I got a PS4 was for Monster Hunter World, and then I also wanted to play Horizon Zero Dawn. And when Horizon came to Steam, I was like, I don't need a PS4 anymore. This thing does not need to exist.
How is Horizon?
Yeah, do you like it?
It's fun.
Yeah.
I don't like.
That's it.
It's fun. Thumbs up. 6.5 out of 10.
All right, next combo. Let's go.
6.5?
Yeah, 6.5.
Wow.
It's gonna be my next game to play after I beat Breath of the Wild.
I think you will really enjoy it. It plays a lot like a Far Cry game. In the sense that like you have this expansive open map with things happening on the map like at all times, and you just kind of like explore and go and do those things. There's like little like ancient ruins to go and gather.
I never played
plays
Far
a lot
Cry.
like Monster Hunter.
Would it be kind of like Skyrim in a way, or is it kind of like Monster Hunter?
Yeah, kind of like Skyrim, like where you, but it's more. Oh, maybe I'm gonna have so many people telling me that like Zhao's an idiot. He doesn't know what video games are. But it's also kind of like Assassin's Creed in the sense that like you have like little blips on the map to like go and explore those areas. Like, you know, like the Eagle Eye locations in Assassin's Creed to like unlock parts of the map.
Okay.
It has those. It has that kind of. Gosh, what games? She needs to play more video games. That's it.
Guys, let's
end the podcast now so she can go play more video games.
Guys, I literally can't. I think I can not even less than 10 fingers on my hands I can count. But I think on Steam though, because of everyone been so like, oh shit, Tiny should play this, you know. You guys are gonna laugh at me, but I've already been overwhelmed, and I have probably like 25 titles now. That's including multiplayer games, like little ones like Among Us, and yeah, I know. But to me, that's a lot. Like I'm already like, I've already changed my schedule on stream because I got Hollow Knight and I had Dark Souls, right? And then I been doing Monster Hunter World for fucking a year straight, right? I'm just like Monster Hunter World 4 days a week. I love Monster Hunter World. And then I was like, okay, I'll venture out and play these games. I played a little bit of Skyrim. It did kind of scare me sometimes, and I
Same.
kind of put it on the back burner. It was a little. I mean, some parts were just kind of scary. I know that some people are gonna laugh about that, but I'm not really big into like the ambience of like, you know, where it's quiet and then you're like in caves and shit and like, you know, little
And then,
zombies
like,
pop out. Yeah, it's just not
100%
my.
agree with that.
Yeah, it's just not my steez when it comes to. I think that's why I really liked Monster Hunter World a lot. It was not very scary, but it was like challenging, and you can have really cute outfits, and the worlds look, you know, pretty and not too scary. And that's why I really liked Hollow Knight. It was my first platformer game to play, and it was because it's kind of dark, but it's like really cute. Like Dark Souls,
Yeah.
I don't know. It sometimes scares the shit out of me, and I know a lot of people think it's funny, but just the ambience of the game is dark, and I just sometimes when you're not really feeling how dark it is, you just don't really vibe with it. Personally, for me. But those are the games that I'm like, oh, you know, everyone really likes these games, and my community really wants me to play them, and I have, and I just started getting overwhelmed when you're doing 2 to 3 different games a week, and you're like, oh
yeah,
crap, like it's so
I can't
many.
do that.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I always took like one game at a time, like, because I tried to play through Dark Souls 3, and I'm the exact same way. I get so anxious with games like that kind of like set that tone of suspense. I hate suspense.
And you're also having different controls, you know.
Exactly.
You have to memorize different, you know, if you're using mouse and keyboard or a pro controller or a PS4 controller or Xbox controller.
Yeah.
Certain, you know, you're constantly changing.
Constantly changing.
Yeah, which it kind of fizzles your brain sometimes. I mean, maybe you have good memory.
No, but I had to stop playing Dark Souls 3 because I was getting so anxious on stream. It was making me uncomfortable, and I just wasn't having fun. But like people wanted me to play it. Like they're like, man, like Dark Souls 3 is like such a good game. Like I'm so happy to see you playing it. Like you're really gonna enjoy it. And I'm like, I'm sure it's great. I hate this though. I
Dark
feel
Souls
sick.
is getting a really strong rep. Yeah, Dark Souls. A lot of people really enjoy Dark Souls. It is like I've heard this name forever. You know,
it's like the religion.
I feel what you mean about the anxiety. I feel a little bit of anxiety sometimes when I'm playing Dark Souls now in not the first one in I don't know, I think I'm maybe 80% done, but there was actually, I usually don't have really like upsetting streams, but there was actually I got upset on Dark Souls because there was a boss battle that was quite difficult. And I wanted my sister and a good friend of mine on the channel, Alex, was like, "Oh yeah, we'll help you. Let's go just fucking wreck this dude," you know. And I was trying so many times, and there were so many people in the chat was like, you know, you got to get respect to do it yourself. Like do it yourself. You know, it's just like you can do this. At the same time, it came from like love, but then some of it was like kind of trolly. Like, dude, just do it yourself. Tiny, you'll feel better if you just win it by yourself. And I'm like, all right, I went through this whole game doing it by myself, and like now I kind of want my sister and me to just do it because I'm getting frustrated with this fight, and it's like not necessarily try to prove that I should do it by myself. But it really actually it actually was like a really bad stream. I was like, all right, guys, this is like it doesn't make the game fun anymore. Like when you guys have constantly berating me saying like get good, you know. It's like come on guys.
It's a form of backseating to like push that mentality on people too, right? Like because I mean it happens. Oh man, we're gonna talk about this again. I'm gonna get ranty on backseating again. But like even when people are just like, you know, like oh, like just don't be upset about it, it's like no, I'm gonna be upset about it. Or like oh well, you can do it. It's like yeah, but I don't want to, right? There's like a difference between like succeeding in the challenge and just like wanting to finish something. And sometimes you make that sacrifice, you know. And it's so insane to me that people can like push that opinion on you sometimes. So there's like, well, like you should do it like on your own, like you know, like I did it on my own, like you should be able to do it on your own. It's like don't compare us. Like I don't know, it's just such a weird thing.
Yeah, and it's like frustrating because you feel kind of like you feel inadequate when you know you're not. But that feeling of that aura comes out, and it's just like, man, the whole thing just goes kind of, you know, it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah. There is a point to where like you're supporting the streamer, and then there's another point where you're berating the streamer with support. There is a difference there, right? You know,
yes,
I've seen like some people like they just get kind of like hung up in the chat ranting and stuff like that when they're having like a difficult time. Like I mean, it happens to me in speedruns, right? Like I had an incident the other day where like I was getting flustered because the monster AI wasn't de-aggroing, and I was being chased by Legiana, and I was being attacked by it, and I was getting frustrated with it. And someone in the chat was like, "Oh, just put on Gilly Mantle." I was like, "Do not backseat." Like, just they meant the best. They meant the best of intentions and all of that, but like in that moment, in that mindset, it was just not welcome.
Didn't want to hear it.
I felt bad. Like I still apologize because I went off. I was like, "Oh shit!" But sometimes that happens, right? And you know. Chat can have like the best intentions, but it still comes off in the worst ways.
Yeah, it's quite hard to, you know, when there's so many different walks of life in the chat, and sometimes when text gets taken out of context sometimes, because it's the chat.
Oh, that happens all the time.
Yeah, and like you don't really, you read which way and they read it which way, and it gets lost in translation. But I think that the support is there, that's what makes it kind of, that's why you feel bad sometimes, because you're like, oh shit, like that shouldn't happen like that, but it does. And it's just a weird, I think it's a weird feeling when you discover, when you're multitasking on stream and you're focusing on something and you're at the same time being engaging and entertaining at the same time. There's a lot of emotional play that comes in that sometimes gets combobulated. And I think some people just don't understand that, which is totally fine. I don't ask anyone that is not a streamer now to understand that, but definitely will. It's interesting.
It's one of those learning curves.
Yeah. I agree.
Especially when you start like getting bigger and having a more active chat, and then more people start to interact with your content, and you get outside of like the same 5 or 10 people every day, but you start seeing like the same 20, 30, 40 people every day, and you start to get to know these people, and then even more new people come in, and it creates this weird melting pot and this weird mixture that can sometimes be volatile and other times be the most pleasant experience ever.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is really crazy. I definitely
big old
agree with
cauldron of just gross, disgusting, amazing creatures and opinions.
Wow.
It's crazy because it's always every day will always be different. Even if you got the same 20, 30 people coming by with the mix of new people, it's like what is it, like kind of going to work with different coworkers every day, kind of a little bit, but it's like different,
Amazon,
just different.
Everyone's coming and leaving. Everyone's
it's different. Different. It's crazy. I mean,
we like streaming.
Yeah, I mean, I personally
honestly,
do.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because I'm so new to it a little bit that I'm so obsessed with it that I'm just like so rose tunnel vision of it. But I can see that there will come a time where you become stagnant or you become burnt out. And I personally haven't felt it yet, but I know the time will come because I'm so new to it and I'm so like enthralled with it. But watching.
How long have you been streaming now?
It'd be about a year and a month or so. My 1 year anniversary was in July.
Oh shit!
So,
yeah, I was there. Oh, I don't know.
Were you there? You probably stopped by.
I think so.
It was like a 12-hour stream. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. Even before then, I didn't. I've never really. I never had any desire or any.
Yeah.
Like I just never thought streaming was ever in my lifestyle choice whatsoever. I've never compared it, but I've always, my sister's done it for years. She was doing it professionally, and she was partnered, and she, did her business with it. And I was like, oh, okay, it's kind of like my mom. We both were like, okay, Kasumi really likes it. She plays video games for a living. She's chilling, like, do you, boo boo. So I was like, okay, that's cool. Like that's kind of cool. Cool. I just never really went into that door, and so it was just kind of funny how I started with try to do cooking, and then it just turned into Monster Hunter World.
Are you ever going to return to a cooking stream?
Yes. I because of the growth that I've had in the community has been so nice, and I've talked about it before. I was like, oh yeah, I used to, early before you knew TinyAsparagus TV, it was just little TinyAsparagus making some funny recipes in the tiny kitchen. I've since moved and stuff, and my community's like, oh yeah, I really want to see it. So I'm actually going to do a really funny mega cooking stream when we reach our charity goal for the charity that
would
we're
be
representing.
awesome.
I'm pretty sure, Skull, are you in it? Are you in the charity? I don't remember.
I'm not in the charity. I think I promoted a little bit because it meant a lot to me, like with mental health and a little bit of suicide awareness in there too as well, I think.
Yeah.
And that hit home to me. So I was really happy you guys were doing it.
Yeah. So
Do you want to plug that charity real quick?
It's called A Hope for the Day. It's a nonprofit that teaches all walks of life about mental health and suicide prevention, and gives educational and resources to anyone that is available to. And Vala Sky is the one that hosted it. It's all the Peaches who you guys know. Picked the charity herself, and we're called Gamers for Life, which I'm really honored that he invited me. We did one for the National Breast Cancer Foundation. We raised over $10,000 US. Now we're doing it for mental health awareness, which is, I think it's a little bit stigmatized. You should never feel shameful to ask for help or vent for yourself. And I think a lot of people now, when social media and these gratifications and these comparisons, I think a lot of people get in their head and feel sheltered in their own mind that it's okay to not be okay, and you can really just reach out if you can and if you want to, and that knowing that there's people out there that are willing to listen and help you out. And I think that's a wonderful cause. So it is called A Hope for the Day, so which is, in their slogan is, it's okay to not be okay, which is, I actually had a mental, I would say not like a huge mental breakdown, but I did get overwhelmed with Discord and streaming, so to say, because of my growth that I was having. You kind of, like you were saying earlier, you get, your core people that keep growing and growing that you see on a daily basis, especially if you stream very frequently, like I do.
Regularly.
I mean, I stream a lot, like 5 to 6 days a week, and you kind of develop, these relationships with all these people that are with you for X amount of hours every day, if not more than 1 time or 2 times a week. And I was running thin when there was a lot of people that, it comes from a state of love, but just the sheer amount of people that you talk to and develop these personal relationships, organically and genuinely, you just cannot be there all the time. And there were some people that were just, they just really enjoyed me, and they were upset that I was, everywhere and not there, right? And it, and it really drained on me, because I don't want to hurt these people's feelings, But at the same time, I'm only one person versus, 60 people, when everyone's like, it's like holding a party, right? I'm hosting a party, right? And everyone's like, this party's so great, this is dope. And then it's like, okay, party's ending, I'm gonna probably like go to bed, and I go up the stairs, and then someone's like drinking a beer, and so I'm like, hey Tiny, you want to like come chat over here and drink this beer over? And you're like, oh, okay, I got 5 minutes, and we're doing it. And then you walk to the front door, it's like, oh Tiny, hey, come over here, check out this car I got. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. And then you're just like, oh damn. And then you go to bed, and then someone's like, oh yeah, Tiny didn't talk to me after the party like everyone else. And it's like, it gets like, it was just getting a overwhelming sense of it came from a place of love, which I will state, but it did drain me mentally. And I was like, I have to take a break from Discord. Like when I end stream, I have to just kind of separate myself a little bit, because it was getting too much, and I felt that there was mentally draining me. And when they see me on stream, I am myself. I'm laughy, funny, I'm happy, because that's who I am. But I did tell them, I was like, bro, like guys, I'm only one person. And everyone's like, oh shit, my bad. And it's like, okay, it's good to be transparent, because you're only human. You can only do so much. You can't please everyone. And I know that. I'm not saying I'm badass and can fucking be there 24/7. I mean, I know myself, and I'm confident in myself that I can do pretty good amount, but I'm not perfect, So I was like, I need to take a break. So I think that they kind of understood that, but a lot of people didn't know that at the time. They just think of themselves, and which is fine. That's valid. Do it. But when it comes to the expense of someone else's feelings and making them feel like shit for not doing that for them, that's when I have to draw the line.
It's not fair.
No, that's not fair.
That's when it becomes, a little sticky wicky,
Yeah, it's important when you have a large community behind you, and like even like 50 or 60 active members is a large community, especially for people like us, where we have other responsibilities, and then we aren't doing this full time, or we're trying to do this full time, and it's all new to us, right? Setting that boundary with your community is really important, having your community understand that boundary is important too. And like that's like I had a friend like contact me a while ago, and she was saying that like, I had this situation, like, can I get an opinion on it? Like, someone's kind of like reaching out to me, making me feel a little comfortable and stuff like that. I'm like, well, then tell them that. Like, well, I don't want to hurt their feelings. Like, it's never appropriate for you to appease someone at the expense of your own comfort. And in the same situation, you can't appeal to everybody and harm yourself in that process too, right? Like, so setting that boundary is really important. And the people in the community that understand that boundary and work with you on that boundary, those are the people that you want to keep around. The people that want to take offense to that boundary and want to make it about themselves.
Yeah.
See ya. Sayonara.
And I think sometimes it could be misunderstood, but yes, I agree, because I'm really firm with, I'm very confrontational, as nice and funny as I am, I don't like to take any bullshit. And I don't like to, if my character becomes, what's the word? Compromised, I get really let's set it straight. So, and I know that, they're just, I think some people just take, my niceness to a certain degree until, they just get checked, and then they're like, oh shit, okay. And it's like, okay, like now
shit.
we're good. We're
Tiny's gonna beat the shit out of me. No, but it's important to do that, because like people will just take advantage of that situation, right?
Yes,
like, because I mean, keeping that kind of like open door policy, right? Because I mean, talking about mental health and stuff like that, like I do have an open door policy on my Discord and like in my DMs and stuff like that, because not everybody has the means to talk to people, and I want to make sure that I'm always, I want to make sure that people always have that opportunity to talk to someone, and I'm more than happy to be that person, right? And because a lot of what I do is based around just like positive vibes, good mental attitude, stuff like that, because that's what I needed this for too. And I had a situation a while ago where someone was just blatantly taking advantage of that, messaging me every single day, being pragmatic and problematic. They only wanted to create problems and no solutions, and they wanted to be an issue. And it was evident to me, right? And I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I was trying to help them out. I'm trying to give them advice. I'm trying to talk through their problems with them. But it was coming to a point to where it is now affecting me. It is now affecting my health. You are taking advantage of the situation, and I can't support this anymore, because you can't help the people that don't want to be helped.
Yeah, exactly.
And this was very much one of those situations where they just wanted to have a space to complain and have a place to be pragmatic, and that's not, it's not fair to me.
Yeah, it's not fair to you. Yeah, and
you gotta make those boundaries sometimes, right? And it's healthy and important to do that. It doesn't mean you're a dick. It doesn't mean you're mean. But
you could just be like,
being blunt and transparent about that is.
Yeah. So I did it on stream so I can kind of knock all of them all in one sitting, so which is good. But to run it back a little bit, I heard that you said in passing that you started streaming because of mental health. Reasons. So what was your first journey like, opening Twitch and deciding to stream? If you don't mind me asking.
Oh yeah, no, I love telling this story. Because I mean, very much so about the charity that you are a part of. Mental health it should be a transparent thing, and it shouldn't be a taboo thing to talk about. So I'm always more than happy to be open and talk about my experience. So in November of 2018, I was in a job where I was commuting an hour and a half every single day, one way, via train, to go and work in a job that I absolutely hated. And I was doing that nonstop. I had, gotten Monster Hunter World. I was playing that nonstop. I put myself into this mental rut to where all I was doing was working and playing video games. And I wasn't growing, I wasn't developing. And it took my friends, my roommates at the time, to literally grab me, sit me down and go, hey, you're not being healthy. This isn't healthy. You're depressed and you need to do something about it. And I was like, shit. Coming from my two friends who know the symptoms and are familiar with it, they helped me like understand that the situation that I was in was not good. And I had been kind of toying around with the idea of streaming for a long time. I used Twitch. I've used Twitch every day since 2014, and I was very familiar with the platform, and I enjoyed being on it.
You were a viewer first. Before
I mean, I was viewing back when I was still in college, because I used it even back then for mental health, because I had to stay an extra semester because I failed 2 classes. So I had to stay an extra semester to finish it out, but all of my friends graduated and moved out of Tallahassee, and so I was like, okay, well, I'm here by myself, still working a full-time job, still trying to pay for myself every single day, trying to get through these classes. I have to pass or I have to change my major, and I don't want to do that. And it was really stressful, but I had a really good Twitch community to kind of help distract me from that when I needed it, right? Like, you know, it was a good place for me to like go in, say hi, you know, be engrossed in the positive vibes. And I was like, shit, if I can do this one day, if I can stream one day and provide that for someone, I want to.
Who was your first streamer?
So
you watched?
It was a Smite streamer named Matty Pockets. He's used to be a part of the Pro League and stuff like that, but I really liked his everything because he was just a goofball, and he played Smite, which that was the game that we were obsessed with back then. So
Nice.
but so fast forward 4 years, November 2018. Hi, it's me, Jeremy. I'm depressed and I need to do something to create a positive outlook on my life and put myself into a better mental state. So I decided that my New Year's resolution that year was going to start streaming and working on my mental health. And I used my stream to do that. I needed something that I could work towards. I've always been a hobby person. I love just doing things that I enjoy. One of my big hobbies in high school and college was card games. I had to stop because that shit was getting expensive. I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Force of Will, Magic the Gathering. I was spending a lot of money and I had to stop.
That's a lot of cards.
I was spending thousands of dollars a month on this game, and I put myself in a shit ton of debt. Yeah.
Whoa, wow.
And I had to stop playing, you know.
Oh, snap.
So I did. I'm collecting again now, which is nice. But I had to stop playing.
Pokemon stream with you and your friend. You were unboxing some Pokemon cards.
Waiting for the next box to come next week. Excited.
Nice.
But I didn't have a hobby, and so streaming became that hobby again. It became something that I could put my mental energy towards. It was a creative outlet, and there's a clip from my second stream ever. And I have it saved in my computer because it's the only thing that I have from that long ago that kind of shows, and the quality there is phenomenal. I'm using like a webcam from 2016 that I had to get for an online conference like back in college, and I'm using a clip-on microphone that cost me $50 on Amazon.
Oh my god!
I have no lighting whatsoever. I was using my old computer that was like a Gen 7 i5, and I'm streaming and playing Monster Hunter World on that at the same time. And the fucking clip is so wild. They just like this muddled out voice of like me going like, "Oh God," as Teostra's novaing me at like 10 frames per second. It's amazing.
Can you send that
clip? Oh yeah, I'll send it to you. But I love that clip so much. It is one of my absolute favorite clips because it is such a it really shows like that difference from like where you started to like where you are now, and like legitimately, because we were talking, oh hey, look at that, full circle, we got back to the thing that I wanted to talk about earlier, because you were talking about being like, you know, still kind of like starstruck like around us, right? It still amazes to me to this day that like I am at the position where I am now because this was never my plan. Right, like I was like, like 20 30 viewers, nice, close, you know, niche little group of people. Like I just kind of want to like play my video games and like chill out with my friends and chat, like whatever. And then, you know, now it's like, oh, I'm speedrunning like one of the most popular Monster Hunter games ever, and like new people are coming into chat every day, and it's
it's crazy.
It's so much. It's wild. Like, you can never plan for that stuff.
No.
Yeah, because it's so sporadic, but it's so fascinating at the same time, you know, how the platform is. But what about you, Skull? When did you start streaming? And what was your game that you streamed?
I had no idea what I was doing. I don't think anyone really did when they started, but it was just like, I got involved in social media in like 2013 or so. Like that's when I actually made my YouTube channel. That's when I got really involved into making videos.
Oh, so you were like a YouTuber first.
I was a YouTuber, yeah.
Okay.
You should see some of his older.
Oh god! Did you look at my older videos?
Oh hell yeah, I did. You brought it up. Skoy and I were in call one night. He brought it up. He was like, "Yeah, I've been doing this for like I don't even know how long now." And I looked at his YouTube channel, and I looked back to his first video, and the thumbnail that you use, and it's like young Skoy, and I'm like, oh my goodness, look at this kid.
It was like right before braces and everything. I was.
Oh, okay.
It's amazing. It is so. Hey, everybody, if you haven't gone to youtube.com/u/SkojSkull, I think that's how the URLs work for YouTube.
I think so.
And you haven't gone to videos and just scrolled all the way to the bottom, go ahead and do that right now.
Thanks.
Trust me.
I don't know.
Thanks. You could unlist it.
I'm gonna watch it.
It's full control over it. It's like, thanks, Jal, for calling me out like this.
You better not privatize those videos.
That's
looking at them.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. But no, I keep some of those videos up there because like it's nice, like you have your clip, Jal, to like kind of look back to where you started, kind of. That was like my first face reveal on YouTube, and yeah, I got involved in it because my cousin showed me this Twitch streamer / YouTuber Syndicate, and I was really involved in like his Minecraft videos and everything. I'm like, I could do that. I want to do that. I really want to try that out. I got involved in it in this not have any like I didn't have any idea about anything, and like how to grow a community or really how to like grow on the platform. I was just like, I hopped into this very obscure game like Mabinogi, which was like an MMO like anime game, and
oh hell yeah, it's right up your alley.
It lasted like 2 days.
Uh-oh.
you do like MMOs though. You've been really playing Final Fantasy.
I wasn't really interested in MMOs until like another game came out like later on. But the Final Fantasy was I think the first one that really grabbed me. Like I was intimidated by that game for like years. The first person I really seen play it was Jiren Godopeko, which is one of our Monster Hunter friends, and they have been playing it like crazy, like all the time, and I've always come by it. I had no idea what I was looking at. Like there's like so many buttons, so many menus on the screen. I'm just like, I don't like it.
yeah.
But when I got into the game, when I got into the game, I was like the game does a really good job of like kind of like introducing you to like structuring things out so then you don't get like super confused if you read it.
Okay, if you read it, which you probably didn't do.
I read some of it, then I asked my chat. But going back
to the manual, that's always right there.
Yeah.
Do you know in Monster Hunter World, like when you first start Monster Hunter World, like you're in the ancient forest or whatever? Dude, there was one time where, this is like the second, third day I was playing the game with my sister, and when you pick up something. Now, I didn't know this, but when you pick up something, and if you had your inventories full, it like trades it off and it goes red and green. You know what I'm talking about? When you pick something up and you just drop the other one. I did that for like 5 minutes and I was thinking that I was picking up new shit. Isn't that so embarrassing? I was like, oh, like, why is it, because my inventory was full. I didn't know because I was just picking everything up that it was like, pick this up. And I wasn't really reading, but I was like, oh, what's the red one? I was like, oh, give me the green one. And it just kept, my sister was like, oh, move on. I was like, I totally see. It's so funny when you don't.
The same stuff.
Yeah. I was like, but that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to relate with school because it's so overwhelming when you don't really, when there's a lot of shit going on.
When you don't know any of the game mechanics, it's pretty overwhelming. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I got started in social media and streaming, it was a lot of just like variety of different games. I didn't really stick with the game. I kind of just went like here and there. I just kind of bounced between a lot of things. It wasn't until like Monster Hunter World that my friends were just like, you're gonna like this game. It's gonna be a great game. I never heard of it until World. And
same.
Yeah. And because it's never been advertised in the US. So it was just like, so World was the first game that has ever been like heavily advertised. And I was just like, okay. So I got into it, and I couldn't be Great Jagras, so I gave up. but then a while later, I decided to give it a solid try. I like started really falling in love with it and enjoying it, and that's when I started having more structure in my streams. I want to say that was in like 2018, 19, whenever I really got into it. And then I started streaming like Monster Hunter content like most of the time, and then I would hop into variety here and there. But that's when I started realizing to have more structure in my streams was just like focus on a few games, don't just keep bouncing between like 20 different games.
Yeah.
And
it's harder to keep an audience like engrossed in what you're doing if you keep changing a game like every single day, right?
oh yeah,
You know, you keep those people around that like are there for you, but enticing a new audience that is invested in a game, you know, it's harder to keep them invested if you're only playing that game once a week.
Right. Yeah, I made a lot of great friends specifically through Monster Hunter World. Like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the great people that are, you know, now that are like mods for my channel and like just like, you know, homies to no end have all come from Monster Hunter World, really. I mean, well, there's a few that haven't, but the most is like, 'cause you just, you know, you make great friendships. And I think that's why I always came back to Monster Hunter World, even though I'm kind of, I'm getting to the point where, you know, I still want to go to 999 and it's great to play with friends, but I still haven't soloed most things on Monster Hunter World. I have never really soloed the game at all. So it's very nostalgic to kind of hang out with everyone. But it is kind of interesting to see you meet obviously different people when you play a different game. And it's always kind of cute when they come by when you're not playing the game that they found you on, and they're like, oh, what's this? And then they, you know, that's, you know, that they stick around for you and not necessarily for the gameplay. There's definitely people that, you know, no matter what, they're just there for the game, and you gotta, you know, it's fine. I get it, but it's like, I mean, there's some people that are like, hey, you gonna play Monster Hunter World game? I'm like, oh no. They're like, all right, I'll see you when you play Monster Hunter World. I'm like, all right, deuce. Bye.
Yeah, all right, later.
It's like I appreciate.
I'm gonna have fun with Hollow Knight.
They're like, oh, okay, I'll see you next time.
Yeah,
that's fine.
It's funny. It's cool. I think it's funny. So I'm like, oh, it's fine. But I never really went on Twitch for growth, so to say. I mean, I have now, like the growth that I've gotten is pretty crazy. But my thought process behind joining Twitch was never, I really just wanted to be kind of wacky and drink alcohol while making food videos.
But no, like when I first started, I was having a blast. I'm not saying like I was switching
that's
between
how
20
it
games.
all starts too,
Oh,
you know?
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not having a blast now. I'm still having a great time. But like I realize now more of how to continue growing from here. Like this, like right now, what I'm doing is like playing Final Fantasy and then playing other games here and there, like Mario Party with you.
That was so much fun.
That was a lot of fun. And I do like these random obscure challenges, like I did with Jal. We did like a shiny race, which you won. Congrats! I'm just kidding.
I got
like I was saying earlier, when I first met you guys, I was like, you guys are like big deals, and I was like, oh my god, like I didn't really talk to you guys. I lurked you guys for a really long time because I knew y'all's name through the Monster Hunter community, and I was like, damn, these guys are, you know, your chats were like popping, and it was just like I was still very not knowledgeable about Monster Hunter World, and you know, Bagel, you were like speedrunning. I actually learned a lot about switch axes and stuff through you, and another person that the swag axe daddy Ryaka, he was like he always plays switch axe, so I learned a little bit from him too, but his time schedule is so bad I never really get to catch him. But,
no, he streams when you're asleep.
Yeah, I can probably catch him like if I'm waking up really early in the morning, but you know, I'm usually not on Twitch at that time. And like even Skull, like I was saying this earlier before you hit live or whatever, that I followed Skull a long time ago, but through Black Cat. Because Black Cat was the first Monster Hunter streamer that I followed and kind of watched. She was kind of on the top page. I was like, oh, she has cute cat ears. Like, oh, she seems nice. So, so I clicked on her. I was like, oh my god, you know. She was like, oh, your name's so cute and funny, and she was so nice. And I was like, oh, she's playing Monster Hunter World. You know, I started with my sister, so and she would raid Skull a lot, and I was just like, oh, this guy's really funny. But I was also really like shy, you know, because I was like, dude, I don't, you know, for some reason I didn't feel as compelled to say anything. So I was just like lurk him all the time. I lurked you a lot, Bagel, too, because I was like, you guys are like pros, like, you know. And Black Cat was pro too, but I still lurked her a lot. Like I said hi every now and then, and like, you know, would gift a sub and stuff. But I was still very like a massive lurker more than just a chatter. And I was just like, oh, you know, she would always raid Skull, and I was like, this guy is like, you know, the real deal. So I did watch you guys for a long time before I even said anything. I think I started talking to Bagel because we were talking a lot in Sarah's chat. Yeah. To Sarah.
I remember I was in one of Sarah's streams and she raided you, and like I came in on the raid and like I said hi, and you're like, oh, holy shit. That's Jalbagel. That's oh my gosh, hi. I lurk your stream all the time. You don't know that because I don't say anything there.
I was really like nervous. I was like, oh my god, like this guy, he's here. And like Sarah, like when Sarah raids me, I get really nervous too, because she's really big in my eyes as well, because she's so knowledgeable at Monster Hunter World, and she was a big I think she she raided me once a long time ago, and I didn't know of her, but everyone knew of her when, you know, she raided me and stuff. And I was like, oh, and she was like, I was like, well, how did you find me? She's like, oh, well, I lurked you and you make really weird noises and you made me laugh, so I wanted to raid you the next day. I was like, okay. And now look at us, we're friends. But because I only knew of Black Cat and I only knew of Bottom Frag Bar because she raided me. And the raid that when she raided me was because of one of her good friends and moderator that was like streaming with her followed me, and his name was Miasma, and I called him Mia, and I sang a song. I was like, Mia, thanks for the follow, and he was like, we gotta raid this girl. This girl's weird. And so that's how I met Bottom Frag Bar, because she was the first big raid I've ever got from Awesome World. I was like, oh my god, I had like 10 people watching me, and I was like, what's going on? Like, it was like probably like my biggest raid from her, and I was so nervous. And yeah, when I met you, I was really nervous, and when Skull came by my chat, I was a little nervous too. I was like, I know of you. I was like, I follow you. Like, he was like, what? I was like, yeah. I was like, how did you find me? You're like, well, you're on my recommended. I was like, damn, okay. So I wait.
Chat here selling me out.
yeah. So it was, but now we're playing Mario Party, and now we're on a podcast. So it all works. It all works, you know.
Well, I mean, like,
and
for
now
me,
you're
it's
like
just...
one of the huge faces of Monster Hunter right now too.
Yeah.
I kind of, you know, a lot of people have been telling me that lately, and I really do think it's because a lot of you guys went to Rise, and I didn't have Rise to go along with it.
I did the exact same thing. It was because like when I saw a lot of my big growth too is when all the other like larger Monster Hunter streamers stopped streaming Monster Hunter, like all of the big speedrunners and all of the big like just streamers in general. I was like, okay, this is a really good time for me to keep playing Monster Hunter. And it wasn't just me that did that. Even Twas and Tios took advantage of that situation too. And
we'll never stop playing Monster Hunter World.
No, that dude's obsessed.
I love that guy. He's like me. He'll never leave. Because I was like, oh, you know, like I hide my numbers a lot, and so many people, like, you know, when you see your numbers when you raid, you know, that's when I see them, or when I look at my analytics, you know. But I usually hide my numbers because I get really nervous. But there has been a few times where when I was playing Monster Hunter World still, when everyone was with the Rise, I didn't have a Switch and I didn't have Rise, so I was like, well, I can't play Rise. And so many people were like, are you gonna play Rise? I was like, yeah, if it comes on PC. I don't have a Nintendo, so I only have Monster Hunter World, so I'm just gonna keep playing this game. And my numbers were my raids were bigger and bigger and bigger, and I was like, well, I guess that's because Monster Hunter Rise. Thanks, guys. and I saw this kind of growth because all of you guys were gone, and it was very sparse. So I definitely was lucky, so to say. But I did go on Rise for a little bit afterwards, but I just didn't really like it. But that's only because Miranette, you guys know Miranette. She gifted me Rise, and then
wow.
So like, well, not necessarily me, but she was having those Rise giveaways. And Rune,
gotcha.
Yeah, Rune and 21 Sushi won the game, and they were like, let's give it to TinyAsparagus because she doesn't have it. Aww. But I was like, guys, I don't even have a Switch, so please don't give it to me. Like, I don't even have a Switch. And then my community was like, buy a Switch now, and they were like really nice, and I was like, fuck, okay, I'll buy a Switch.
Hell yeah.
That's how it all came together. Yeah. So I don't think I would have actually really played Rise if they didn't give me the game, really, or Switch in general. But now, because of that, I got Breath of Wild, and that was the one game I asked chat. I was like, okay.
I'm so happy you're enjoying that. It's one of my favorites.
It's like my new favorite game. Yeah. It's like literally my new favorite game.
And you're exploring it, which I never thought about exploring it.
What?
You're exploring in the way that I never thought you would explore it. You're exploring in a way where you don't use teleporters. You're just running around the world, going to each location, like on foot.
Because you get the treasures that way, and I do a lot of role play, so I think it's kind of funny that way for you know. So I do like Link is he's a little flirtatious little little boy, and
damn straight.
The other day, we did like a role play with the horses and stuff.
Oh no.
Holy shit. I had with my mixer, I did 2 different voices. Holy shit. I'll send you the highlight. It's actually really funny.
Oh gosh.
Because I have I don't know. The role playing is kind of fun. I do it for, you know, especially when now I got this little mixer, you can change your voice and stuff, so I can sound different, you know. So we'll just say the horse Otis sounds like a weird sex robot, guys. So.
This is why I said you were lewd. This is why.
Hey, we're bringing it back.
We're bringing it all back. She was just like, you call me lewd, and I'm like, this is why.
Tiny, I have to ask you something.
Yes.
Have you ever played D&D?
No, I remember you offered, you offered to do. You said that you wanted to do something like a not like a class, but you remember that you asked me on your chat. You were like, "Would you be willing to do?" I was like, "Yeah, I would," because there's so many people that have told me like, "Oh, Tiny, I think you would love D&D." And I was like, "I've just never done it before."
This is Jal's plan.
I mean,
this is Jal's plan.
Absolutely.
This is what you
but I would totally be down. I mean, I'm telling you,
no, I've been playing around with the idea.
No,
yeah,
I know.
I've been playing around with the idea of doing like a mini campaign with a couple other streamers, like 4 or 5
you said that
sessions.
on your yeah.
This is why he wants to do the podcast. He wants to grab everyone like one by one.
I'm gonna snatch everybody, and everyone's gonna play D&D. Damn it, everyone.
So, well, when you play D&D, it's not online.
It can be.
But like you have paper.
When I personally play, we have a group that plays on Wednesdays, and we play in person at my house.
Oh,
that's just they're my real life friends.
When
right?
we all become rich and famous, we can all have a production place
house.
and just
streamer house. No Kappa though. Would you guys live in a streamer house? Yes.
Oh
or no?
yeah,
hell
100%. What? Why
I
not?
not.
I want my privacy. Damn it! I own my house now. I own my house. I am the only thing. I am the only person that lives here, and then I have a cat.
For me,
I love being alone so much.
I like privacy. I just think when it's streamer house, you think of like roommates, right? Which is fun. Sometimes you get really good roommates, and sometimes you get really bad roommates. Can you just imagine everyone just recording everything all the time and just like
it'd be awful.
So much. Yeah, it would just be
zero
so much
privacy.
You know, like I would be like, I think it'd be fun to like visit. You know?
Yes.
I don't think Skull. I think if you were living there, I think you would be like, guys, I gotta get out.
Well, the reason why I say I would like it is because it's just like for me, I need others to like really like be more productive. I need to be.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
Like I need to like put myself in the position to be with other people that are also in the same field to like be like, all right,
yeah,
like,
with inspiration too, you know.
Exactly, inspiration, and to have someone else be like, hey, did you post that TikTok today or something like that, and then they'd be like, no, it's like you gotta post a TikTok or else I'm gonna smack you, and just kind of just have that like in the house. For me, like I would
for the accountability. Oh, so do you need like a manager? Just kidding. I would
love a manager. Honestly,
or it's just that coworker mentality, though.
Yeah, it's a coworker mentality.
The accountability of I see. Yeah.
Or just even having, or just even living their car on the same location, like or same like general area. I would like that probably even more than like a streamer house. Like I would like that because just like you can come over each other's places like your friends and just kind of like work together on different projects.
Like a hub, kind of like a hub, and you like work and do whatever for X amount of hours, and then everyone just kind of either some stay and some dip.
Same town.
Yeah, just live in the same town. Like I'm 100% down for that. But like, yeah,
just like having IRL friends.
Yeah, I'm a very in-person kind of guy. Like I hate I hate making friends online because just like I just want to see them and hug them, and I can't, and I'm just like, duh. So, but then eventually I got past that, and I'm just like, you know what? It's okay to make friends online.
Yeah.
Because there was a huge stigma around all of us growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because like that huge stigma around us growing up, like with the internet. I mean, I can't really speak for you, Tiny, but I feel like it would be a similar situation. Like we grew up with this entity that put us in connection with people on the other side of the world. Like you're literally on the other side of the world right now, and there was this huge stigma about making friends online. The first time that I met one of my first online friends in person, that was Kira, my friend Kira, and I met her through Twitch, and we went to a convention in Atlanta, Georgia together for DreamHack Atlanta, and I knew her for maybe like 6 months at that point. But we both lived in Florida, and I drove 2 hours across the state to go and pick her up, and then we drove to Georgia together. And my mom was like, "How do you know this person isn't going to kill you?" And I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like I've known them for 6 months. Like they're like someone I interact with on a daily basis. Like I know this human being now. Is someone I text, is someone I message, I send them pictures, I talk to them about their day. Like this is a human being I interact with at the same level as people in my actual life, just without seeing them face to face.
Yeah, like a physical connection is only can go, it can flourish and not flourish, and it's still the same value. I mean, with my past work, I used to travel a lot for work, and I would meet all sorts of walks of life like in person. So I was always formed with the difference of so many different people and how you kind of conduct yourself, and you kind of grow with that and you mold yourself, and you realize that, you know, there's so many different conversations and so many people from so many different cultural backgrounds. I think it kind of helped me a little bit when I'm on Twitch.
Yeah.
Because it is the same a little bit to me. It's just instead of me being spread out and jumping from all these different cities, it's just all one on the online. And I think that as the world is as it's now, I think it's more normalized, and it's just going to be something that it's going to just be more frequent. And I think that people eventually will accept it. Especially, I mean, some people, of course, yes, there's some people that do not have the internet and do not have the resources to be like that. But I do think a lot are going to stem in that direction, because that's just how the world is kind of crazy right now, and it's just how technology is. So
I mean, the internet helps make the world a little bit smaller, right? Because like I'm connecting, like we connect now with like people in the UK, people in Australia, you know, people in the Philippines, Singapore, Korea, China, Japan, literally everywhere, right? And like I would have never have known these people. Like I have a conversation on a daily basis with someone who their primary language is Japanese and their second language is English, and not very good. And we still communicate on a daily basis. Like that's wild.
Yeah, and the connection is just as strong. The connection is just
exactly.
As strong.
You know, because people at our core are still people. The only thing that separates us is the circumstances of our upbringing, and that's it.
Yes, exactly. I totally agree. So, yeah, it's just I think that, you know, if someone you know, I think a lot of people that, you know, stream on Twitch, they do you know, video game first, and they're really passionate about their video games, and some might be socially inept than others, and maybe this is a good outlet for them to kind of not be as shy, and that's great. And I think that platform really helps a lot of individuals that are kind of in that genre of, you know, when people kind of categorize people that play video games and stuff like that, they're kind of like shelled off and stuff. But I think that it's just like kind of like a good match when, you know, there's those people, and then they can kind of branch out, and, you know, just like Skull said, which you're like, oh, you know, you don't really feel making online friends, but kind of he's branching out, and it's like he kind of knows it's almost a little bit similar. Yeah, you might not be able to hug them, but you might hug them one day. You just don't. You can't hug them now. You know what I'm saying? So the
Once
feelings
COVID goes away.
Like right before COVID hit, like I went to this place called the Monster Hunter Fest. I don't know if you heard of it. Have you heard of the
MH Fest?
It was so nice. It was a whole event that Monster Hunter Capcom like made themselves at Boston. Yeah, and it was like a whole like Monster Hunter speedrunning competition thing where you try to see whoever beats the monster the fastest wins, essentially.
With their own platforms?
No.
Like you played the game there?
Yeah, we played the game there, but they provided their own like
like they
everything.
had like the setup of all the consoles and all of that, and you would
just
sign up to participate.
And
they did teams, right?
I competed. I couldn't get past for the first round. Yeah, it was like 3 separate teams. I couldn't get past for the first round.
I was about to be like,
some of the people that went to that.
I was
like some of the people that went to that are
but yeah,
like Shepard was at it,
and Toad, Omnitoad,
and Toad was at it. Yep, Omnitoad. No, it's crazy. Like the people that were able to go to that, I was pissed because I couldn't go, and that was the first time that a festa was held in the United States.
Oh yeah,
and I really wanted to go to that.
Literally right before COVID was being like kind of a thing, and the people that were the main people that were part of the event didn't fly over from Japan to here because of everything that's going on. But everyone that was there was just like, COVID's not a thing, but we're all just hanging out.
Literally 2 weeks later, it was like, hey, COVID's a thing now.
Exactly. But like, it was so much fun because that event was the time I got to meet like literally like a lot, like 90% of my online friends, and even people that I've come across on Twitch. And I was just like, it was so nice to see everyone and to be able to like hug them and kind of say hi and drink with them. It was an open bar. And
open bar too.
Open bar. I was gone.
Wait, so was the ticket, was the ticket to the event expensive then?
$20.
$20 and an open bar?
$20 open bar.
I didn't go to this thing.
And like not only that, but they gave out like $40 worth of products for free.
Okay, wait. Open bar, was it just like beer and wine, or was it their like actual like
mixed drinks? It was a legit bar. It was at a club. The event was held at a club.
Oh my god, that sounds like a good deal. Holy crap.
It was incredible.
What were we doing? What the fuck?
But not only that, like,
when was this?
Because you get a $20 ticket, and then you also get a free pass for someone else.
What year was this?
2019.
This was in like
2020.
Yeah, this was it was
2020.
It
right
was
before
like December
everything
2019, January 2020. It was like somewhere
2019?
around there. It was like the
This
end
is
of the year.
2019. It was like February.
Because
February
it was right
2020.
before Iceborne actually came out, or was
Was
when
it?
Iceborne
No,
like
this
actually
is
came
after.
out. Yeah, it was like when it came
Namiel
out.
was
It
out.
was like
Yeah.
Oh, Namiel. Yeah, no, but it was
Namiel was
like
in
around the
story.
same time that it came out. I'm looking it up. We got the internet right in front of us.
I thought Iceborne came out like in 2018. Everyone said that
Yeah,
Monster World was like 3
it
years
came
old
out-
when I started playing it, and I
it
played
came
it
out-
last year.
It came out like in 2019, I think in November.
Yes,
Oh.
it came out the end of the. It came out in the end of the year in 2019. Festa was 2020. It was January.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Damn.
That's what I meant.
That's what I said.
Damn, what
That's
a
you
deal!
said? Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I was
And
talking
then
about the event.
2019
I was talking about the
Festa was
event. You were
in
talking about the game.
Tokyo, and that
Yeah.
was for the release of Monster Hunter World on PC.
Yeah. Do you know what was funny though in the event? They kept playing the Basil music and seeing everyone's reaction, and everyone's just like, "What the
Where
fuck's
he at?
happening? Where he at? Why is he here?" Yeah, no, it was really nice. It was the first time I really got to meet like a lot of my Monster Hunter friends. No, I didn't. I found an insect glaive. I grabbed it and I took a picture.
Oh, nice.
It was nice.
That's one of the things that I want to do one of these days is do a Monster Hunter themed cosplay. I've always wanted to.
I've
for like
seen
the
some
longest time.
on
I'll buy one
Reddit,
off of Etsy.
and the ones that look really good are like, holy crap, so professional.
Yeah.
looking. Like,
Mhm.
holy
Do you follow Kamui cosplay?
I'm not really into. I don't really know that many.
If you
When I
like,
tell you I'm green on Twitch and like this like lifestyle, this gaming lifestyle, I'm really green. Like I
she's
didn't even know what Pog
huge-
meant for like 6 months.
She has all these Pepe emotes in the background.
Yeah,
what the fuck's a pog?
yeah. I was like, someone was like, it's player of the game. I was like, oh, okay,
Poggers.
yeah. But I mean, Pepe, I liked Pepe because he was cute. But then some people told me about what really Pepe is, and I was like, oh shit. But
What?
whatever. Yeah, Pepe the frog was like some like old cartoon that was like racist or something like that.
Yeah, it was
What?
it used to be it used to be a white supremacy icon, but then the internet was like, no, fuck that.
Yeah, so yeah, I was like, oh, I just thought it was cute. I was like, I don't know,
Yeah.
I
thought it
didn't
was
know
cute
too
too.
much.
Don't
about
worry,
them.
the internet reclaimed that one. We're all safe now.
We're all safe
Yeah.
now? Okay,
And then I
so
didn't know what Kappa
a
was for a
racist
long
icon.
time.
we're not
like-
racist anymore.
But yeah, so I mean, I'm learning. You guys are teaching me along the way.
Yeah.
I've really learned a lot by
Oh my
watching a lot
gosh.
of you guys, honestly.
Dude, there's still people that like will put like an emote or something in chat, and I'm like, what the fuck is that, dude? I don't know half
There's
the time.
some
Dude.
weird
I'm like,
every
emotes.
time I
feel
see a
such a
kazoo.
I feel really boomer sometimes. It's like someone's like will say like an acronym. I'm like, I don't know what that means. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't like
yeah,
explain it. I'm like, I still don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there's
me
a lot
every
of acronyms.
stream.
I'm like, I read out loud, like I try to pronounce it as one word. They're like, no, it's an acronym. I'm like, bro, I don't know what this is. Tell me.
Bro,
And
what's an
they're just like-
acronym?
Yeah. it's like,
HMU? What's that mean?
what was it? Was it shmush? But it was like shake my head or something like that. I don't know.
Oh yeah, SMH.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I was like, oh my god, I did not
Oh,
know
it's
that
not-
one. Yeah,
I think
it was
I
like-
think some of my viewers are doing it on purpose, but it's just like they wrote SMH in my head, and I'm just like,
Yeah, SMH my head. I do that too.
it's like shake my head, my head,
Shake my head, my head.
and I'm like, what does that mean?
once I get it in my brain, I compute the data. You can't fool me anymore. I'm learning, so
Oh, be careful, everyone. She's learning.
yeah.
She's
dude,
on to you.
I'm getting Pepega brain. No, Pepe big brain, not Pepega brain. I know the difference. I know Pepega's not good. Pepega's
Pepega's what I do.
Pepega is because it's Pepega's.
Pepega's what I do. I'm Pepega
Oh, so you-
Speedy.
Oh yeah. Pepega Speedy. Oh, you stupid. You were on fashion.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Oh my gosh. So one of the things that I wanted to bring up was because we talk about video games. We talked about a bunch of video games too, like the variety of stuff that we're playing. And Gamescom was last week. I don't know. Did either of you watch that?
No, I didn't even know it was out.
No. Oh, okay. Well, Gamescom was last week. It was a 3-day event, and I mean, I'll say this: I watched most of it. I didn't watch all of it. A lot of it was lackluster. But a couple of cool things were announced. One of the things that I'm excited for, because I love this genre of video game, Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. We got to see more of that.
What about? Are you excited for Elden?
Wait,
Elden
what happened?
Something?
Oh, Elden Scroll.
Yeah, everyone's been talking about that. Are you?
It's another Souls-like game. I really don't care.
Okay, nice.
I can't play those. They make me too anxious.
Yeah.
Elden
I don't
Ring, I'm
know
really
too much
excited
about
for.
these
Elden Ring,
gaming shows things, but I do know because of you guys talked about. I think it was you, Butterbagel, that talked about it before. Was
Butterbagel?
EA games when it was like the new Monster Hunter Rise event that was happening. It was like EA game or something. It was like you guys watched it. You watched it was like a watch party. You were talking about it. It was like showing off Monster Hunter Stories 2 before it came out, and it was like
it
was EA.
it was
something.
No, it was Capcom's, like, because Capcom did that event.
Yeah,
but it was for
like
but it was a part of the E3.
Yes, E3. That's what it was. E3. Yes.
So
yes.
Gamescom is like an E3, right? It's a little bit of a smaller event, and it's kind of like the mid-year announcement for stuff. Gamescom is also kind of a joke, in my opinion. They were giving out awards for games that didn't even come out yet. They were giving out awards for like hype for games. Like they gave out an award for most hype game, and like Fatalis made the really good point, because she was like, "Yo, we gave like Cyberpunk 2077 was the most hype game of 2020, and look how much of a shitstorm that was."
Yeah.
You know?
Did you guys play that game?
Hell no.
No.
Okay.
My friend still plays it. One of my friends, I'm just like, I was watching him play it and it was running at 10 frames per second. I'm like, how can you play this?
CP 2077 was one of those games that I was like really interested in, because I love like the GTA genre. Like I loved GTA 5. You know, I don't play it anymore, but I did really enjoy it when it was a thing. And I was looking forward to CP 2077 because like my friend Kira was, you know, obsessed with it, but I had my reservations about it because the game was promising a lot on very little.
Anthem is another good example.
Oh, what is
Anthem?
Oh yeah, Anthem's another great example of that.
What's Anthem?
It's basically Iron Man the game, and you basically get into these like different kinds of suits that do different things. Like you could be in like a tanky suit, you could be in like a speedy suit. But the game was
fly
like
around and kill monsters and stuff.
Oh yeah, the game was like overpromising a lot of things though, and I popped into some of their live streams because I was genuinely excited. I'm like, oh, what they're gonna showcase, and the game kind of looked unfinished. And what they were explaining was like people are asking them questions, and they were just like, oh yeah, we can add that, or oh yeah, we can add that too. And I'm just like, what do you mean?
Overpromised on a lot.
They overpromised on a lot, and the game comes out in like a month, and I was just like, how can you guys do this? Like the promise. All this that you're promising right in front of chat, like in a month, like that's not possible. And sure enough, when the game came out, and there was a lot of glitches, there was a lot of things going on. Like it could have been the game that could have overtaken Destiny 2, but it was just like it just didn't.
I've heard about Destiny 2 a lot lately. A lot of people have been playing it and talking about Destiny 2. I know it's a shooter game, but I wish Monster Hunter World was crossplay.
Yeah,
you know,
thank PlayStation for that one.
But you know, take Monster Hunter World and all the titles of Monster Hunter World out of the picture between us three. What would be your favorite game
currently?
Yeah, sure. Currently, that's not Monster Hunter World related.
Pokemon. I could still be playing Pokemon. I almost became a Pokemon streamer. I was almost like fully just a Pokemon streamer.
Oh, really? Interesting.
This close. Decided to play Monster Hunter World for an unhealthy number of hours instead.
What about you, Skull? What would you
say? I don't know. That's a hard question. I guess Naruto.
You jumped around. You kind of already tried that, right? Like you jumped around a bunch of other games too.
Yeah, I guess Storm 4, Naruto Storm 4. Ultimate Storm 4. It's like it's an anime game essentially. It's like a 1v1 kind of, you fight against another player. I adored that franchise when I was younger. I grew up with the games, and then they haven't made another game for like years. And then
it's been a while.
Yeah, and then recently they announced a Demon Slayer video game that's going to be coming out in October. That's made by the same exact company that made the Ninja Storm series. So I'm really excited because I looked at the gameplay review and everything, and it's the same exact like play style, and I'm like, a
lot of people told me to watch the anime Demon Slayer. I guess it's from an anime, right?
Oh yeah, it's a good anime.
Yeah, so maybe I should watch it then.
If you want to, yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it. Yeah. But
Anime.
but I guess currently right now my addiction has fallen into Final Fantasy. I don't know, I guess I've missed the massive multiplayer like fan base of just like you can play with literally anyone, like how his world was for me. Like I could literally hop out of a quest and there's like 10 people waiting and I'm just like hi kind of thing. And then Final Fantasy is exactly like that, where it's just like you can go into a raid with like 8 people and then you come out of it and there's like other people kind of just chilling out, hanging out, and it's such a vibe. The game is a vibe. I don't know how to explain it.
It's really cute. It's really cute looking, but it is kind of overwhelming. But I think that's because I'm just new to it.
MMOs can be very overwhelming. Like it takes a certain kind of mentality to approach an MMO, but Final Fantasy 14 does it really well because it is almost entirely story focused. Right? Like most of the player base will just play the main story quests, the MSQ, and they will never touch the actual like additional end game content. Like I would say about 90% of the player base will do that. And you will get just as a good an experience out of that, right? And most people will probably, like me personally, the end game content is difficult. The game has like this higher like level of play to it. And just experiencing the story of the game is worth it in its own right. Like it's level it's easily 40 hours of a story that you could just grind through. It takes you about 80 hours to get through.
It's crazy because
like it's amazing.
Technically I'm still in the free to play portion of the game.
Oh, you are?
I'm still technically in the free to play portion of the game. I have over 2
and you've been playing for like
2 weeks. Yeah. I've been playing the game for like 2 weeks. I'm still technically in the free to play portion.
So okay, I did the free trial so I can play with my sister and a few people in the community and stuff. But I was like limited. I couldn't add people as friends and stuff.
Oh yeah, you couldn't trade. I couldn't do that either.
Can't trade. Oh, okay, but you still
you can't trade and you can't really do that. So, but like if you focus on that single player aspect, right? Like it is playable,
Okay.
They have to put limitations on the free accounts so you can't abuse the free accounts. Because like literally anyone can make them. I can make a free account and like all of these new accounts just over and over and over again, right? But and you can kind of like take advantage of like how the trading system works and how the recruitment system works, and they just want to avoid all that.
Makes sense. I just I think I played it till like level 9 or something, and I kind of fizzled out.
MMOs aren't for everyone.
No.
They are a
I'm
different kind of monster. It's a huge time sink.
Yeah, I think I would come back to it when I'm done with most of the games that I've been playing.
That's what I do. Like 14's always like there in the back burner, like away from me. And so whenever I'm either feeling stagnant with like Monster Hunter or I just don't have another game to play, I just go back to 14.
Yeah, it's a good cushion. Yeah,
we were about to play 14 yesterday.
We sure were.
If I got the shiny soon enough, like I would have, we would have just been both playing Final Fantasy right after. It would have been great. Yep. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I think about covers everything unless you have something else on your list.
Hey, that was a good podcast.
Yo, you know what, Jill? That was great.
Thank you guys for having me. Hopefully I was a good guest.
You know what? You were the best guest we've had so far.
Yep. I know, because I'm the only one so far. Hell yeah, come on, kick out, brother. Let's go. Yeah. One and done. Let's go.
Yeah, one and done. That's it. No more guests. Tiny was the best one.
Yes.
No, but thank you for joining us on the second episode of Gamer Breakfast. Tiny, if these wonderful, beautiful people wanted to find more of you, where would they go?
Well, all you have to do is search for TinyAsparagus and you'll find me. No,
we'll have everything linked below as well.
No, seriously though,
right now.
I'm gonna funny story. If you go to Google right now and you go to Google Images and if you just do tiny space asparagus and then you go to images, there's my face amongst tiny asparaguses, no kappa. If you put them together, you'll see me all over whatever Twitch. If you put the name together, TinyAsparagus is one name. You'll see a lot of clips and stuff. But if you separate it, actual TinyAsparagus, I am the only one in the sea of vegetables. So yes, if you Google me, you will find me.
Oh my gosh!
Actually hilarious.
Do you think that's how most of your community found you? Was through the searching up Tiny Space Asparagus and just like, oh my gosh, this girl looks cute. I'm gonna follow her on Twitch.
But I will say this: I just recently got Instagram. It is not TinyAsparagus; it's TinyAsparagram because someone else has TinyAsparagus.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I love that.
A friend of mine helped me with the name, but I do sometimes put hashtag TinyAsparagus. So if you look at that hashtag, it's nothing but me and some asparagus. So there has been one person that had found me and liked my stuff when they were like, "You're not a vegetable." I think that they were looking under TinyAsparagus because they had a garden and they just saw little pictures of me and Munchbot. Was like, "What the fuck is going on here?" And then I was like, now they follow me and now they're my friends, so it's pretty funny. But yeah, you can follow all my social media. It's literally whatever TinyAsparagus. That's it. Uniform.
Find her on Twitch. Find her on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube.
Yes, I just got a YouTube channel. I just got edited videos, but I don't have the channel name because I have to have like 100 subscribers or something. But if you just literally Google on YouTube TinyAsparagus, you'll find me. It's there.
Yeah.
So, but thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for joining.
Thank you for being here. All right, well.
Munchbot says bye. He's already gone, so Munchbot.
Yeah, Munchbot left early on.
Munchbot was like, I went up the ladder in the back. I saw.
He says bye. He loves you guys, and
we love you too, Munch.
Yeah. But thank you guys for having me. So you guys send me the link where it'll be on, so I can tell.
Absolutely not.
No.
Secret.
Okay.
Well, secret podcast. No, of course. Yeah, we'll definitely share it around. And if you guys want to find them, we'll also include Tiny's links in the chat and in the description chat. Description.
It's not Twitch.
And yeah, we'll see you guys next time for more of a healthy serving of gamer breakfast.
Hell yeah.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe, turn on the notifications.
Bye-bye.